You're listening to The Scrimmage with Daniel Hargrove and Justin Damasiewicz.
All right, Justin, it is time for your favorite part of the show. No, it's not talking about more LeBron James stuff.
Or is it?
This just got
maybe
awkward
it
because
is.
this is an all LeBron James issue of Stump Daniel.
Ah, dang it.
It's not. I just made it up. I actually just have a few kind of random trivia questions based on some things that happened recently in baseball and football. It's very similar to last week's format, but a little bit shorter. And I actually think, last week I went into it with confidence thinking, hey, you have a possibility for 11 points. I felt like, you could get an A. I felt like you could get 10 of those. Well, you didn't. You failed miserably in a way that I didn't even predict. And I designed these segments for you to fail.
That's true.
I thought this week you need a little bit of a boost, okay?
All right.
I'm going to give you some
I
questions.
hate it when you say that because then when I fail, it just makes it that much worse.
Again,
I feel
this
like-
segment is designed to make you feel bad about yourself.
Yeah, but then you just said I needed a boost.
That was all part of the design.
It's like you're a bad place architect or something.
Just call me Michael. Okay, here's your first question, Daniel.
Do you have a legal situation and need someone on your side? Let the law office of Jeffrey A. Damasiewicz be your advocate. If you've been the victim of medical malpractice, suffered a personal injury, or need representation with real estate law, small business law, or estate planning, let Jeff Damasiewicz put his 29 years of experience to work for you. Call Jeff Damasiewicz today at 360-612-3991 or visit damasiewiczlaw.com. That's DAMASIEWICZLAW.com.
Which NFC team broke the NFL record on Sunday by losing its sixth consecutive game despite leading by 10-plus points at some point in the game?
Oh my gosh.
Which NFC team broke the NFL record on Sunday by losing its sixth consecutive game despite leading by 10-plus points at some point in the game?
And you're talking about today, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Falcons play tomorrow night, so it can't be them.
Can't be them. And just for clarification, they didn't lose their sixth consecutive game. They lost their sixth consecutive game in which they held a 10-plus point lead.
Oh, how was I supposed to know this?
By paying attention to maybe which teams won their game or lost their game but blew a 10-plus point lead?
I gotta break it to you, Cotton. It's not looking good. I don't even know which team's lost.
We know one team that lost because we watched the Seahawks game together.
Yeah, but they didn't have a 10-point lead. They never had the lead. I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys.
It is not the Dallas
Duh.
Cowboys. That was a terrible guess. The answer is, and if you had thought about it, you would have realized one of the most pathetic franchises in the NFL is the Detroit Lions. They lost to the New Orleans Saints 35-29 despite leading 14-0 in the first quarter. You're 0 for 1. Next question.
I'm right where I always am.
Baltimore Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson reached 5,000 yards passing and 2,000 yards rushing quicker than any player in NFL history in his 35th career game on Sunday. Who was the previous record holder? Again, it's 5,000 career passing yards and 2,000 career rushing yards.
Thinking of two different guys.
Okay.
I'm not going to say, these aren't my I'm not saying the answer.
Okay.
But I'm thinking it's either Cam Newton or Russell Wilson.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with Cam Newton.
That is incorrect, and it's a terrible guess. In fact, the guy who did it is neither of the people that
What?
you guessed. It is, in fact, a player that you incorrectly guessed on a question last week. Michael Vick, in 39 games, was the fastest player to 5,000 passing and 2,000 rushing yards. And this is extra funny because last week the answer to a question was Cam Newton, and you guessed Michael Vick.
That hurts.
All right.
I remember that.
You're 0 for 2, but I'm going to switch to something that's a little more comfortable and familiar to you. I'm going to baseball.
Is it Mariners related?
No.
Oh, gosh.
So, Major League Baseball is in the playoffs now.
I did know that. I mean, despite being a Mariners fan and not remembering what the playoffs are, I do know that some teams are playing in this weird mystical realm of Playoffville.
That's true. Now, we've talked recently about, a couple weeks ago, about what constitutes a major national headline. Remember when you ridiculed my Mike D'Antoni question?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Also, last week, I don't know if you noticed, but I went super Daniel in the 2-minute drill. I even
did.
put a Gardner Minshew question and an Oregon State Beavers question.
That's true.
Just to appease you.
That is true. And this week, I appeased you by adding more LeBron into it.
Well, aren't we just all getting along swimmingly? We are. It's funny because last week I was thinking, man, Daniel didn't even thank me for putting that Beavers question in. But I also did not thank you for putting in a LeBron question.
go.
So now we're even. Okay. If you know, or if you have followed at all major national headlines this week, you will get this question. Which MLB team has lost 18
Oh, I know this one!
consecutive playoff games since 2004?
Is it consecutive games?
Yes.
Wow, that's so bad.
18 consecutive playoff games since 2004.
It is your Minnesota Twins.
My Minnesota Twins?
The Twinkies.
It is the Minnesota Twins.
Oh, I feel so bad for Nelson Cruz.
Yeah.
Did you see his face
I
after
didn't.
the last game?
Oh, was he sad?
Yeah, he was so sad.
It's hard to see a big man sad like that.
Yeah, because they made an error in like the 8th or 9th inning that blew the lead, and they just clipped to him, and it was just sadness, pure, utter devastation that he was like, oh, we're going to lose.
Well, I have a little more elaboration on this because I looked up the Twins' playoff history, their recent playoff history, and as I thought about this, I was like, I would prefer losing 18 consecutive playoff games since 2004 to not having made the playoffs since 2001, right?
It's close, but I think you're right.
Yeah, okay. So what happened was, in 2004, the Minnesota Twins won the opening game of the ALDS against the Yankees, then lost the next 3. Then in 2006, they were swept out of the division series by the A's. In 2009, they were swept out of the division series again by the Yankees. In 2010, they were swept out of the division series again by the Yankees.
Wow.
And in 2017, they lost a wild card play-in game also to the Yankees. So of all these losses, you've got 7. No, more than that. 10 of the 18 consecutive losses are to the Yankees,
Wow.
which is insane.
That is brutal.
All right, last question. Sorry, Andrew, I
No,
threw
you're
you
good.
off by
You're
going
good.
into more. Okay. Last question, Daniel. You're 1 for 3. Here's your chance to get even. Which MLB franchise has never lost a playoff series?
Never lost a playoff series?
Yes, which MLB franchise? This is one of the most fascinating things in all of sports to me. Which MLB franchise has never lost a playoff series?
The Miami Marlins.
That is correct.
Yes!
It is the Miami Marlins, formerly the Florida Marlins.
Because they're garbage until they go to the playoffs, and then they win the World Series.
Exactly. So they swept. They finished the regular season 31-29. So not great, but they made it. They opened the playoffs by sweeping third-seeded Chicago. And the only 2 other times they've made the playoffs were 1997 and 2003. Both of those seasons they went on to win the World Series.
That's
So
crazy.
Daniel, you struggled in football. You bounced back in baseball. You went 2 out of 4.
I'll take it.
Still an F.
Oh, mother truckers. That is... I'm getting forked. That is some bullshit.
Sometimes I'm an ash hole.